In this video, one crazy technique that is guaranteed to hold your breath longer. Coming up. What's up guys, Gert from GertLeroy.com helping you master freediving. And today I'm going to share with you one crazy technique that is guaranteed to hold your breath longer. That's right, it is guaranteed. If you apply this technique, you will hold your breath longer. And at the end of the video, I will give you a powerful tip on how to train your CO2 tolerance for longer breath holds. So make sure you keep on watching till the end. If you're new here, my name is Gert. I'm a freedive instructor. I dive from breath holds, and this channel is all about tutorials, stories and the latest news from the freediving community. So what exactly is the problem in breath holding? Well, you would think it's low levels of oxygen. Nah, not really. What actually gives you this feeling that you have to breathe again, and we call this the urge to breathe, is elevated levels of carbon dioxide, CO2. So as I'm walking through my home village Nieuwerkerken, somewhere in Flanders in Belgium, we could ask ourselves, can we do something about these higher levels of carbon dioxide? Because higher levels of carbon dioxide eventually they result in contractions. Contractions are spasms of your diaphragm, the big muscle that separates the thorax from your abdominal region. This is what makes people uncomfortable with breath holds. So if we could take this uncomfortable feeling away, or at least if we could delay this feeling, then your breath hold would be a lot more easy, it would be more comfortable. So the question is, can we do this? And the answer is yes. By the way, let me know in the comments what it is that holds you from holding your breath longer. Now this crazy technique that I'm going to share with you in a minute will delay your contractions, will delay your urge to breathe, and thus will make you hold your breath longer. But wait, be very attentive now, be very careful. What I'm going to share with you in this video, you cannot actually talk about it. It's a bit like the pandemic, you know, if you have any critical questions or thoughts about the necessity of this lockdown or a possible vaccine or the WHO, if you just try to talk about this, there will be people who jump on you and say, you cannot talk about this! It's wrong! Your information is wrong! You're gonna hurt people! Well, in freediving, we also have such a topic. And that topic is called hyperventilation. Okay, so what's the problem with hyperventilation? Well, when you hyperventilate, you are exhaling CO2, carbon dioxide. So, carbon dioxide is what eventually makes you feel the urge to breathe, and which will eventually stop you from holding your breath. So if you can delay this, and that's exactly the whole idea of hyperventilation, right? Now the problem with delaying these contractions is that your natural mechanism, your natural clock alarm that tells you now it's time to stop your breath hold doesn't work anymore. Exactly that CO2 is your natural clock. So if you're taking away that natural alarm system, these elevated levels of CO2, then you basically don't know when you're getting hypoxic. And hypoxic means getting low levels of oxygen. And that is what will make you black out. You don't black out from high levels of CO2. You black out from low levels of oxygen. So that is why hyperventilation is potentially dangerous, because of the higher risk of blacking out. So why am I talking about a technique that is based upon hyperventilation, whereas I just said that this hyperventilation is actually dangerous? Well, you have to understand that there is a big difference between breath holding while you are not moving or freediving. When you are freediving, you're moving, you're using your muscles, you're wasting more energy, more oxygen, and therefore hyperventilation is not the right way to prepare for such a dive. But for just a normal breath hold, and in freediving we call this static breath holding, you don't move, you just sit still on a chair, you lay down on your bed, you're not moving, you're not wasting any additional energy. Hyperventilation is actually a very nice way to prolong your breath holds. The chances that you black out on a breath hold are very, very small. I mean, you have to push it really hard to black out on a breath hold. I mean, it can happen of course, but it is so much easier to black out on hyperventilation while you are freediving than it is while you are doing a static breath hold. So can you use hyperventilation in freediving? The answer is no. but yes. And the yes only in static breath holding. Now when you ask a freediving instructor, can I use hyperventilation as a preparation for static breath holds, he or she might say no. The reason behind this is assuming that you are a beginner. As a beginner, your focus should be on relaxation. Now, that is totally true and I support this idea, but who says, and this is an assumption that some freediving instructors are making, who says that you cannot relax when you're hyperventilating? Hyperventilation, just like any other skill, is something that you have to learn, something that you have to get better at, and eventually the more you do it, the more you'll relax doing it. So how are we going to do this? This breathe up is called the 5-5 breathe up. Well, I found a new friend here. I'm going to explain you and demonstrate. The 5-5 breathe up is a mild form of hyperventilation. We're going to inhale during 5 seconds and exhale during 5 seconds. Now in between each in and exhalation, we're going to do a little pause just to make sure that you're not doing something like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 1, 2, 3. No, we're going to do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, little pause, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, little pause. So diaphragmatic breathing means you use your diaphragm to breathe. So you're not going to use your chest. You're taking the air in your midsection. Your flying ribs go open and they close, open and they close. Now, if you inhale during 5 seconds, you're going to have quite some air in. So it might be that some of the air is going upwards a little bit towards the chest. That is okay. All right, so I will demonstrate one cycle, one inhalation of 5 seconds, a little pause, one exhalation of 5 seconds. So we're going to keep on doing those cycles for 4 minutes and not longer, because if you do it longer, then the hyperventilation will come on too strong. We don't want that. We want mild, maybe moderate hyperventilation, but preferably mild. So 4 minutes is enough. So now I'm going to demonstrate 4 cycles, and immediately after that, take my final breath. Here we go. So the whole goal of this, guys, is to lower your CO2 levels and thus delay your contractions, delay your urge to breathe. So if you start a breath hold and you know that your contractions will come later, then you will look more forward to this breath hold, you will enjoy it more. And an enjoyable breath hold is simply a longer breath hold. Now keep in mind that these contractions eventually will come, and once they come, they might even come on stronger and follow themselves up faster than if you wouldn't have done hyperventilation. But the whole time before the start of those contractions, the whole relaxation period is just so much longer and so much more enjoyable, and eventually results in a better and longer breath hold. Alright guys, so at the beginning of this video I promised you a powerful trip, not a trip, but a tip. Well, if you're holding your breath, you might take a little trip as well. So I promised you a powerful tip on how to train for CO2 tolerance so you can hold your breath longer. So here it is. Now the key to a longer breath hold, training for longer breath holds, is to do more volume at less intensity. So instead of always trying to go for maximums, I advise you to dial down on the intensity and just do more breath holds, more volume. So what you can do on the first session is a couple of breath holds, let's say 4, 5, maybe 6, till your very first contraction, and then stop. So this gives you the opportunity to really go into your breath hold without having to worry about contractions. This will contribute on relaxing even more and getting the best out of this relaxation phase. Now on your second session you might do exactly the same, but this time until 5 contractions. So now you will get used to having 5 contractions. On your third session, you might do the same, but this time until 10 contractions. Now, 6 breath holds will already be too much. So the more you dial up this intensity, more contractions, the more you're gonna dial down on volume. So volume, intensity. And eventually you will come to a situation where you do only 2 or maybe 1 breath holds, maybe 20, 25, 30 contractions or even more until your maximum. So your volume will be low, your intensity will be high. So the whole process of training for a breath hold goes from high volume, low intensity towards low volume, high intensity. Question of the day: how long can you hold your breath? Let me know in the comments. And if you want to know more about mastering freediving, then hit the round subscribe button here, and here I have another video with tips and tricks on how to hold your breath longer. So go ahead and click on that. That's it guys, see you next time. Peace.